What's up YouTube, it's the gaming Jackal, and in this video I'm going to be talking about my top 5 Left 4 Dead characters. So Left 4 Dead is a game series I do like. Left 4 Dead 1 is great, Left 4 Dead 2 is great. Really wish they bring it back into a third one. It's a great game series, definitely one of the best zombie game series out there, and some of the best zombie games ever made. So here's my top 5 Left 4 Dead characters. Figured I would just stick it to top 5 because there's only 2 Left 4 Dead games, so there's not really a whole lot of characters enough to make a top 10. So top 5. So at number 5, getting into my list of top 5 Left 4 Dead characters, my number 5 choice is going to be Coach from Left 4 Dead 2. Coach was a great character in Left 4 Dead 2. Definitely did like him. I thought it was cool that he was voiced by, I think his name is Chad something. I can't exactly remember his last name, but he played Tyrese in The Walking Dead, and he actually voices Coach, which is pretty cool. And he does a good job voicing him, and Coach is a pretty cool character. He has a little backstory in the manual, if you read it, where it basically says that he used to be a coach, basically, for a football team, but he injured his leg. I always thought he had a cool character design, the shirt he wears, cool voice actor, cool lines. It was always a character that I did like using in Left 4 Dead 2. Cool voice actor, and he did have some funny dialogue. Like um, the banter between him and Nick in Left 4 Dead 2 was great. Especially in the intro scene where Coach is running out of breath and Nick says, "Come on, maybe the helicopter, maybe it's made of chocolate." And then because Coach likes food, and then I remember Coach one time said, "I'll be a one man cheeseburger apocalypse." And then he also has history with Whispering Oaks, where he says, "Whispering Oaks, I used to go there when I was a kid." And Nick says I have a sarcastic response to him. So, yeah, Coach was a great character, cool design, fun to play as, uh, cool lines of dialogue, really cool voice actor, and definitely someone I like using. And I thought he had very interesting back and forth banter and dynamic with Nick's character. And yeah, he's a really cool character. Definitely do like Coach. And I thought he could be funny too. Like if you shoot him a few times, friendly fire, he says, "Excuse me, excuse me." And it's just funny the way he says it. Or if you're about to escape from a level, he keeps repeating, "Move your damn ass." You know, like because if you don't escape the stage, the NPCs will hound you and keep repeating dialogue. And Coach had some funny stuff to say. I think he's definitely the one that made me laugh the most in Left 4 Dead 2. So that's my number 5 choice, Coach. Great character. So my number 4 choice is going to be Ellis from Left 4 Dead 2. Ellis is definitely a really good character. I like Ellis. He's like he has a cool southern accent. He has a cool voice actor. I like his character design with his hat, with like kind of this sweater tied around his waist. He's got a cool design. I like his dialogue. I like his lines. He has cool banter and chemistry with the entire cast of Left 4 Dead 2. Because one of the things that stands out about Ellis is every single stage you play on specific points, he always get into telling a story about his buddy Keith, and then before he finishes, somebody always cuts him off. And then I remember something to do with him and Jimmy Gibbs Jr. I think it's because he was trying to help the survivors get this vehicle that was in the mall, one of the stages for Left 4 Dead 2. And he had cool bands with all the characters because a lot of them would individually like cut him off, or his story wouldn't even get finished. Like I remember one of them said, "Ellis, can this wait?" um, and he had some cool moments in the trailer, you know, like he had a badass line of dialogue in the Left 4 Dead 2 trailer where he said, "Kill all sons of bitches." That's my official instruction. Like it's just awesome. So yeah, really do like Ellis. He was somebody else I like using as well in Left 4 Dead 2. Really cool dialogue, really cool voice actor, really cool character design. I like using him in gameplay. I like his banter and chemistry with all the characters in Left 4 Dead 2 cast. The Buddy Keith story told more than once is pretty cool. They should have him as a playable character in a future game as like a nod back to Left 4 Dead 2 where he can play as his buddy Keith, which I think he became a zombie. But yeah, that's my number 4 choice, Ellis. Really good character. I know he had like a thing for, I think, Zoe. I think they had some kind of back and forth, I think, because they actually crossed paths from what I remember in Left 4 Dead 2's DLC, or Left 4 Dead 1 meets the Left 4 Dead 2 cast, except for one character, unfortunately. This list will contain spoilers, by the way, for those that haven't played Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 in the DLC. Uh, so yeah, that's my number 4 choice, Ellis. Great character. Number 3 choice is going to be Bill from Left 4 Dead 1. Bill is a great character. He is a phenomenal character from Left 4 Dead 1. He is like this badass old man, badass old military veteran. He has a really cool character design. I love the green beret he wears, the green military outfit. He has like these claw marks. I think it was either on his back. I always thought it was kind of weird how it looked like on his shirt he had a mustard stain there all the time. He had a cigar in his mouth, and he was just a badass old man, badass military vet, cool voice actor, cool lines of dialogue. Was definitely somebody I always liked using Left 4 Dead 1. And he was also funny too if you shot him as Francis. I always used to love playing as Francis, shooting Bill, and his dialogue was just hilarious if you hit him more than once. He says, "What the hell are you doing, Francis?" And he would say, "Francis." And that shit was just funny. There was just something about it that was funny to me. Friendly Fire was like the best for Left 4 Dead because you got a funny response from the NPCs. And when Francis, like when you would do that with Francis, I remember finding a way to see Francis's face since it's a first person shooter. Francis would move his mouth and mock Bill when he said that. And that was interesting. That was an interesting thing. So, yeah, Bill's a really cool character. Sadly, he did die in Left 4 Dead 2's The Sacrifice DLC. He stayed behind so the rest of Left 4 Dead 1 cast could get away. They were on a bridge, and somebody had to go down there and flip the switch and the lever. Bill ended up doing it. He sacrificed himself and got killed by all the zombies and tanks and all that so that the rest of the cast could get away. So it is unfortunate that he did die. I mean, I guess it makes the most sense to kill him since he's the oldest of the group and everyone else has a longer life to live, but it still does suck that he died because he was a great character. And you do get to see his body when you play Left 4 Dead 2 cast. You see his gun there, so it is sad that Bill died because he was a phenomenal character. He had good chemistry and back and forth with Francis. Like I remember in the Left 4 Dead 1 trailer, he's looking at some slime and he wipes it on Francis's shirt, and Francis gets pissed at it. Him and Francis had great chemistry, banter with each other. I just loved their dynamic. It was phenomenal. Um, and then I liked his dynamic with all the other characters, like Zoe. Zoe was almost like a daughter to him. And then his dynamic with Lewis, I should say. I almost got it mixed up with Resident Evil 4. Lewis, his dynamic with Lewis is pretty cool. And he was just a fun character to play as and definitely someone I liked. Cool lines of dialogue, cool voice actor, cool character design, badass old military man veteran, cool dynamic with all the characters in the Left 4 Dead cast, and just an awesome character overall. And I definitely do like Bill. Really awesome character. So my number two choice is going to be Nick from Left 4 Dead 2. Easily my favorite character from Left 4 Dead 2. Absolutely love Nick. He is just a great character. He's got a great voice actor, great lines of dialogue. I like how he's a little ruthless and kind of an asshole in some ways. I remember one piece of dialogue they were asking each other names, and Nick said, "I don't even care," or something to tell him his name because he's not going to be around that much longer or something. Because at first he was just looking to get away on his own and not really work with the team. He had a cool dynamic and back and forth with Ellis, Coach Rochelle, and then I think he had some back and forth with what was it, Francis, when they maybe it's been a minute since I played Left 4 Dead games, but I know he had some stuff to say. I think in the past, not the passing, the Sacrifice DLC, Left 4 Dead 2 cast meets Left 4 Dead 1 cast. But I really like Nick. I love the character design, especially. He has this white suit with this blue, and I love his character design. I love the suit he wears. I like how he has kind of this sort of asshole personality to him, this sort of ruthless personality to him, and he's like this just really fun looking character, like he's coming straight out of Vegas or gambling or he was in the mafia or something, and he has like a ring on his finger. And I like his lines of dialogue. I like his voice actor. I always liked playing as him. He was always my favorite to use in Left 4 Dead 2. I liked his lines. I liked his dynamic with all the characters, especially like Ellis and stuff like that. And, you know, like I said, I liked the ruthless and that sort of asshole thing that he had going for him. He was pretty much kind of, think about it, like the Francis of Left 4 Dead 2 for the most part, I would say. Um, and then another thing with Nick is, I was trying to think, oh yeah, I think if I can remember in the manual, they said he was like a gambler or did something in Vegas to that effect. I remember reading something about that with Nick. I can't exactly remember Bill and Ellis's stuff from the manual, but I can slightly remember Nick's. So yeah, that's my number two choice, Nick. Great character. Easily my favorite character in Left 4 Dead 2. I think he's the best. I like his dynamic with Coach, especially when, you know, they're going to Dark Carnival and coach is excited to go there, and Nick's like, "Oh, good, now we can die there as adults." He just had a good, like, sarcastic response to things. He could be an asshole, but he was just a fun character. Great voice actor, great lines of dialogue, great design, and great personality, great dynamic with all the characters, and was my favorite to use. I really liked Nick. He was awesome. Number one choice is going to be Francis from Left 4 Dead 1. Easily my favorite character from Left 4 Dead 1, and easily my favorite Left 4 Dead character of all time. Francis is just a badass character. He's this badass looking biker dude with these tattoos on his arms. I always thought he was just the most badass. I liked his voice actor. I liked his lines, his delivery. You know, he always said, "I hate stairs. I hate helicopters. I hate this and that." His dynamic with Bill was great. It was phenomenal. I love him and Bill's dynamic. I always love playing as Francis, friendly fire shooting Bill and getting his funny reactions of Francis. What the hell are you doing, Francis? This shit was just funny to me. I liked his dialogue, his voice acting. He also had some interesting chemistry with Rochelle from Left 4 Dead 2. They actually had a cutscene or something like that in the DLC where Left 4 Dead 2 meets the Left 4 Dead 1 cast, The Sacrifice. So I liked his dynamic with Bill. The dynamic with Rochelle was cool. His dynamic with all the other Left 4 Dead 1 characters was pretty cool as well. Love his design. Love his voice actor. Love his lines of dialogue. He did have a different design in the base Left 4 Dead 1, much like the other characters. Originally, he had longer hair, but they gave him the short hair. But it's interesting. I think they should have had those as like costumes or something. And he was always my favorite to play as, and always the character I liked using the most. I was always playing as Francis for the most part. That was always my personal favorite character to use. I just really liked Francis. Cool name, cool character design, cool voice actor, cool lines of dialogue, cool dynamic with all the characters, and fun to play as, and just an awesome character, very memorable, and just a badass biker. You know, kind of like the anti. I don't know if I want to say anti-hero, but just kind of like the badass, um, cool dude. And I always thought he was the most badass Left 4 Dead character out of all of them. And I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I'm gonna say about him. I always felt like he looked like Undertaker, right? I don't know if that's just me, but he looks like fucking Undertaker. He really does. Francis looks like Undertaker. I always felt like as well, John Travolta in the movie The Taking of Pelham 123. He looks like Francis from Left 4 Dead 1 as well. But that's my number one choice, Francis. Great character. So that's it for my list of top five Left 4 Dead characters. My personal top five. The other characters in the series, I don't mind, but they wouldn't be favorites. Like I don't mind Lewis, I don't mind Zoe, but they wouldn't be favorites. Rochelle is probably the weakest in my opinion. I don't really care for her much. Um, but these are personally my top five if I had to pick favorite Left 4 Dead characters. So that's really all I'm going to say in this video. If you're into gaming and watching a channel that covers gaming, subscribe to this channel. If you like this video, give it a like. And make sure to comment below what your top Left 4 Dead characters are and what your choices would be. That's all I got to say in this video. Peace.